Here we go, people. All right. So that might very well be all of your first Christmas song. Anyway, welcome to what is always our most popular webinar. We get more people attending this than anything else, and for good reason. This is the reason the cash registers ring. It's the most important 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks of your entire calendar. And how this period goes for most people, well, determines the year for them. If we stink in the next 7 weeks, we've got a big problem on our hands. But the reality is we have a chance to turn this around. It's been a so-so sort of year for most people out there. Not dire for most, for some, of course. Really good for others, but for most people, sort of in around the middle. And the projections for the holiday season, depending on where you look, are for some optimism, but not necessarily a whole bunch of optimism as we go through this thing. So most people are around the 2% projection mark. Here's what I know. Here's what I think you know. And you can't do it inside your own store. I always tell everybody, go and take a look at somebody else's store because you're too biased. You get the blinders on with your store. You're perfect with what you do. Go and just shop other stores and take a look at all of the missed sales opportunities that you're going to see. Items not priced, end caps not merchandised properly, staff not waiting on customers, people just clerking sales, nobody at the cash desk, and the list goes on and on. And pretty soon you'll say to yourself, there's another 5, 10, or 15% that store could have, should have done. And that's really what this program is about, is how do we get your store or your group of stores to capture back some of those lost sales opportunities? I'm going to be running through with you, I think it's 50 different things that I think you can do. The reality is you could and should be doing most of these things right now in your store. If you're not, you probably wouldn't be able to afford to be here today. That's the way this thing goes. I'm going to start this program off by sharing with you a little bit of research that was just released by Leger. They're Canada's largest Canadian-owned polling, market research, and analytics firm. They do this survey every year, right? And I always just go through it and pick out a few things that I think are relevant to you in the audience so that we can do this thing. So take this one in for what it's worth. This was asking people how much they plan to spend this year. And you can see that almost 60% plan to spend about the same amount as they did last year. 29% plan on spending a little bit less. 7% just weren't too sure. And only 5% thought they might spend a little bit more. But you know how this goes, right? We all tend to spend a little bit more than we think we were going to spend. But I've seen this in some years where it's 70% of people are like, I'm going to spend more this year. And I think we're headed towards that maybe as early as next year, certainly the year after. Then what's the most wanted information from retailers? So when they asked that, they basically said, consumers want to know, how much can you save with special holiday offers and discounts? We've got a real value driven consumer out there right now. And so that makes sense to me that that showed up as the top of the list. They want to know about your shipping options. If you're an e-com operator, what the delivery time frames are, those things become really important. Product availability, and you guys can see the list as it goes down. And then when we talked about top in-store experiences, everybody on the line is a brick and mortar retailer. The most important thing was to know what your in-store exclusive holiday promotions or discounts are. You're going to have to, whether you want to or not, be a little bit value focused, not exclusively, but consumers are going to want to know where the values are in your store. And if you're doing some things specifically in store, promoting them as just in-store promotions, that's probably going to work to your advantage to convert more of those customers. Value bundles, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Special product samples or tastings, depending on your category, and you can see the list goes on and on. So that's a little bit of data to get you started. Let's now get into this thing. Here's what I tell everybody all the time. Find five, just 5 out of 50 things in here, and you're going to increase. I promise you, you'll increase your sales in your stores this holiday season. These are all low-hanging fruit ideas. You can implement most, if not all of them right away. They're not big, grandiose, strategy-driven ideas. These are tactical ideas that we should be able to introduce in our stores. Not all of them will apply to all of you. Some of you don't have the decision-making to do some of the marketing ideas that I'll share with you when we go through this thing. So let's get started because we have a boatload of stuff to do. Let's always start off with Christmas selling tips. So what would I do if I was working in a store to sell more to the customers that I'm interacting with? And I think this is a really great place to start because you probably should be able to steal 2 or 3 ideas out of here. Number one, if we're going to have a value-driven customer, don't be afraid to show them how it is they can save money with either your promos, your sales, compare at things, volume purchases. Like, show them how it is you can help them have their dollar go a little bit further, right? I wouldn't hesitate to that. Now, I'm the type of salesperson, I'm probably not going to lead with my promotions and my discounts, but I am going to be introducing them as one of my add-on strategies to my consumer so that they can pick up that second item at a discounted price or a promoted price in the store, right? If we have a customer that's value driven, you have to respect it with what it is you're going to show them. Next, you got to be fully informed. You know that your customers today are smarter, they're more informed than ever before. At least 80% have done their research online before they even show up in your store, whether they've been just on the general internet, on Amazon, or your own company's website. It's tough, man. When you're working out on the floor and your customer comes in and they know more about what's going on in your store than you do, you're starting with 1 foot in the grave, and that's not where you want to start. You need to know what's happening on your company's website, what's the promotions are, what's going on mobile, what email promotions have been pushed out, what's on the social channels for your company, because your consumers know all these things. Know that the store is just merely an extension of the entire experience that your company is creating out there. Right? It's no longer we've got e-com channel and we've got this brick and mortar. No, those are the exact same things. That line is blurred out there. And so when you're in the store, you're really just an extension of everything that your company is already doing. Be informed. What's new? What's sold down? What sizes? What quantities are left? What's on promo? Where is it? Right? Things sell out really fast. New things come in while you're not in the store. You've got to be aware of what's there. There's nothing more frustrating for me as a consumer because I'm a little bit impatient when I'm in a store and I ask for something and they go, yeah, I think we still have that. And now the goose chase is on to try to find it. And then they're in the back room and 3 minutes later they come back out and I've lost my mind at that stage. It's hard, but you've got to be able to stay on top of it. A store walk at the beginning of every shift. Just if you're not running shift starters, you're behind the game already. Send me an email. I'll send you a shift starter meeting kit. A little tight to be able to get them started now, but you could do a modified one to get them started. That last point there, that's bolded. What else can I sell with it? Right? If I'm managing a store, I'm very much every shift starter focusing on, listen, what are our best selling items? What are the things we have to sell down in the store? What's on promo? But oh, by the way, when the customer is buying that, what are the 1, 2, 3, or 4 other items that we're going to suggest to go with that? Because the one item is just it, right? It's just the one item. What are the alternative complementary accessory items, trade-up items that we should be suggesting with each and every one of these products? That's good service to your customer because you're going to be saving them time. You got to move faster. You get going into stores and the customers have the staff outnumbered, right? And you can't staff it to match the customer traffic that you're going to have. That's not realistic. But what you have to be able to do is you need to be able to move faster. There's the old thing that we have to sell to the speed of the store and the speed of the customer, but the speed of the store comes first. So what do I mean by that? If the store is not busy and the customer's not in a hurry, you can spend more time with the customer. If the customer's in a hurry and the store is not busy, you're going to move a little bit faster. If I'm waiting on a customer who's not in a hurry, they're enjoying the holiday season, but the store is really busy, you're in a hurry. You have to learn how to manage more than one customer at a time because all those other waiting customers who are seeing you having these great detailed connection building conversations with your customers are just getting frustrated. So we have this silly little chart. I use this thing, right, all the time. Let me just take that off my screen. How to wait on more than one customer at a time. All right, you're the good-looking person in the middle. Somebody said it looks like me. You got two customers, customer number one, customer number two. So you're busy waiting on customer number one. Customer number two now has showed up on the scene and is looking a little bit impatient. All right, so what do we do? First, I'm going to acknowledge customer number two. I'm still with customer number one. And normally this is all you need to do. Not always, but normally, right? Just a little smile, give them a little, I'll be with you in a minute type of idea. That's all you need to be able to do with most. But let's assume that doesn't satisfy the person. So what do we do now? Well, with my first customer, I'm going to get their permission for me to go over and wait on the second customer. I'm just going to say, listen, this customer looks like they've got a pretty quick question. Do you mind if I just take 30 seconds and go and see how it is I can help them really quickly? Third, get them busy. Listen, while I'm gone, what I'd suggest, have a look at this brochure or have a look at this range of products because I think this is really what's going to satisfy what you're looking for. And then most important, number four, get a commitment to wait. Will you wait for me? Right? So do you mind if I go over there while I'm gone, have a look at this? Will you wait for me? That's all you have to be able to do. Now I go over to the other customer. First thing I do is I apologize to keep them waiting. Rapport is the most important step of the sale. Sorry to keep you waiting. Is it this busy everywhere? If it's something, is there anything quick I can help you with? Because I'm still waiting on this first customer. Normally they're impatient because they just want to know something really quick. Listen, I had a special order. Somebody called me. They said it's in. I'm just here to pick it up. Great, terrific. If you go to the desk over there, that's where it's at. Or do you have any of these left in the store? As a matter of fact, we do. We just moved them. They're over there. If it's going to take a little bit longer and you can't, you say, well, listen, that's a bit of a bigger issue. I can't solve that really quickly. Tell you what, get started here, have a look, and get their commitment to wait, and then we go back to our first customer, right? That's how we do this. It's just bouncing back and forth. Easier in some environments than others. Shoe stores, piece of cake. People have their shoes off. They're not going anywhere. Clothing stores, you've got them naked in the change room. They're not going anywhere. So we can keep all these people really busy when we go through it. All right. I have 5 add-on strategies that I always talk to people about during holiday. And the way my mind works, and I think it works better for everybody on the floor, is that if you have a strategy, a plan to follow, you're more likely to be successful. Because if I just say to my staff, look, try to add on some additional items to your customers today that makes sense to the customer, where do they start? Like, what does that look like? And so in all of our sales training, we always have add-on strategies, a 3-step, a 4-step, or a 5-step. But when holiday comes around, there's some specific ones that we put on the list that really work well. The first one, always ask your customer, right? You're going along, you're selling them the main thing that they're looking for. Who else is on their list? Just ask them. So how's your Christmas shopping coming along? Who do you still have to buy for? Right? Door opener, right? It's a door opener, right? They may just reveal that they still have to buy another couple things that you might be able to help them with. That's phenomenal service. Next question, the self-gift. Do you know that most people buy themselves something during the holidays? Why? Because the gifts you get aren't that great. You have to return them. So you buy yourself something, right? So just, these are my words, not yours. You got to figure out how you introduce it. But I would say, I was reading somewhere that most people buy themselves a gift at Christmas. Did you see anything in the store that you would just love to have for yourself, right? Third, holiday entertaining. We all entertain more. We either have people over, or we're going out to events, or we're going over to somebody's place for dinner, right? Just ask them the question, do you do a lot of entertaining over the holidays? Do you have a lot of events to go to, right? It's just that door opener. So if they talk about entertaining or places to go, do they need a hostess gift? They need, if you sell home decor, it's a great opener for all the home decor items that they could have in their home. Those are the types of things that make a huge difference to your sales and help your customer. Number 4, gift cards, right? Gift cards are really, really important, right, to be able to have. If your store has them, they're just a great little add-on item. Like, think about it. How many times does somebody show up at your house with an unexpected gift and you've got nothing? Right? It's great. Hey, I got you something too. You race into the pantry, you find a gift card, you slap it in a card, you give it to them. I was thinking about you when I got this, right? They're phenomenal. I'm going to talk about gift cards a little bit later on. So again, you introduce it when you go through it, and then Number five, stocking stuffers and impulse items. That's what your cash desk is for, right? Hopefully your cash desk is full at this time of year of those impulse items that are great for stockings or just highly consumable items. I know in our family we always exchange stockings. So I would just say to somebody, so do you guys exchange stockings? If you're like ours, finding unique items is always a challenge. You know what? We brought in some really great ideas this year. Let me show them to you, right? And again, I look at this and I go, if I tried all five of those strategies with the customer, number one, it's a great conversation. Number two, they're not going to say yes to all five, but I might get two out of five. If I only did three, I might get one, right? If I did two, I'm not going to get probably maybe one every now and then. If I just suggest one, I'm probably not getting that, right? Customers don't buy everything that you suggest to them. Really customer focused, holiday focused strategies, use them in your store. Gift cards, we talked about these things. They continue to grow in popularity. All the surveys out this year said they're going to be even more popular than ever before, right? And for very good reasons. They're perfect. There's no size issues. They're great in stockings, easy to merchandise through the store. The trick is you've got to be able to mention them to every customer at the right time. Like I don't like suggesting it early in the sale. I'd rather sell something to you in the store. But if you're about to leave and you haven't bought anything, I might suggest the gift card, or I'm going to suggest it as the add-on at the end of the sale or midway through the sale or at the cash desk. We love gift cards. Customers give us cash, but they don't take the product until like later, right? We know that a certain percentage, maybe 10 or never ever redeem. But most importantly, when you get a gift card, somebody gives you a $100 gift card or a $50 gift card, whatever the number is, you normally go in and spend more than that amount. Why? Because the first $50 was free. So I may as well drop another 20, 30% on top of that, right? It's a good way to be able to drive these things. If you have them, you've got to be able to use them. You are going to sell out of stuff in your store. You are going to sell out of popular stuff. Customers are going to show up and they're going to ask you for that stuff that you no longer have. Sell what's available today. Don't go, oh, I'm sorry, we don't have that anymore, right? It's kind of like a non-starter at that stage. It's like, oh, I'm going to disappoint you, right? You have other items in your store that have similar features and benefits, maybe even better features and benefits. Know what you're going to move over to when that item sells out in your store. Like I would just ask customers if they came in, do you have that widget left? That was really great. What was it that you liked most about that? What caused you to come in? Who are you thinking of getting that for? Right? What benefit? Like I would just start to ask and go, you know what? We've got a couple things that are like that, but I think they're even maybe a little bit better. Can I show them to you? Right? That's the idea of sell what's available today. And then selling for 2025. I say this all the time. If you want to have a good 2025, kill it in your store with service and a great experience for your customers this holiday selling season. You're going to see a whole bunch of customers into your store that don't normally shop in your store. If I go into your store and have a terrible experience, you know I'm not coming back. So we know that. I don't even have to talk to you. But if I go into your store and it's just mundane, even if I buy something, but it's just mundane, there's no reason for me to come back. But if I go into your store, whether I buy or not, but it's a really great vibe, it's a great experience. You were great, your staff was great, the music was great, the decorations were great, the cider was great, whatever it is that you're doing is great. Guess what? I'm going to remember your store, and next time I'm shopping in your district, I'm going into your store, right? How we perform now sets the table for Q1 and Q2 next year. So do your very best to create those amazing shopping experiences now, right? For all my managers, talk to your staff about this. To say, guys, we're not just selling for now. We are selling for 2025 by virtue of the experiences that we provide. Let's make this amazing. If your company collects email addresses or have loyalty programs, get them from every customer. Every customer. That's how we market. That's how we drive frequency into our stores. That's how we get people to come back. That's how we can send messaging out to them. Let's get all that data collected from these people. And then cash counter selling. I'm an old dog. I still think there's a huge opportunity to get an extra $2, $3, $5, $8, $10, depending on the type of store that you're running from every customer. Just up at the cash desk. We know the most likely time for a customer to agree to another item is at the cash desk. Why? Because they're already buying something. That extra little $3, $5, that all has Keystone margin attached to it, right, is a non-starter, right? So get your cashiers on a program with these really cool, fun, highly used items for people. Put a product of the day, have a contest with it, but get working on it. You can't just merchandise it there and hope it's going to sell itself. Get your cashiers involved with pointing these things out. All right. Got to get moving here. I'm watching my time here. Managing staff performance. So let's leave selling tips behind and let's talk about how do we get better performance out of our staff. We know, well, when I say we know, you know this even better than I do. If you're managing a team of people, your success this holiday season is predicated on how good your staff are and how much productivity, how much engagement you can get out of your teams, right? That's what we're going to talk about. So I mentioned this daily huddles, shift starters. I always want to tell people if you're not doing them now, go to the corner. Go to your room. You're just missing the most important 2 to 5 minutes of every shift. They're just the norm out there. If your staff are just coming in and just starting work, what are we doing, right? Like there's no direction, there's no recognition, there's no goal setting, there's no planning, there's no team building, right? We're just missing all that. And it's 2 to 5 minutes is all this is, right? If you're not doing them, send me an email, kevin@graffretail.com. No cost. I'm just going to send you a shift starter kit, right? There's no credit card involved. I'm just going to send it to you because if you need to do this for your staff, not for you, for your staff, right? To be able to engage these people. We talk about how we did yesterday. If it was great, we celebrate it. If it wasn't great, we build some accountability. I go, no problem at all. Tell me 3 things we could have done better yesterday that would have helped us hit our target. Great. What's the target for the day? What are 5 things we're going to have to be able to do today to do it? We have a sales tip of the day, a product of the day, a standard of the day. We talk about what's new in the store, what's sold down. Like it doesn't take long. They're phenomenal opportunities for everybody to come together and for you to drive productivity. Stay focused on your goals. We get so busy, we stop talking about our goals. We stop talking about what it is we're trying to accomplish. Everybody's just running around crazy in the store, trying to do their best. Stay focused on your goals, right? Your sales, your conversion rate, your average sale, items per sale, feature items, loyalty signs, whatever is important for you and your business. Get on top of it. Do hourly reads. Have somebody go around and tell everybody where we're at so far, right? We're playing a game. We're not just busy for the sake of busy. There's a business game at stake here. And if we can get all of our staff to continually to focus on the goals that we have in place, they're going to stay in the right direction, right? And that's a really important thing to be able to do if you're a manager. Become the goal monster in your store. The daily top 5. If you've ever been to a program in person that I run, I'm always giving you a number of ideas that I want. If I put you in a small group, I'm going to tell me 7 different ways to reduce your staff turnover. Give me 10 things you could do to drive average sale. And there's always a number. Why? Because if I say, go into your group and come up with some ideas on how to reduce staff turnover, I get some ideas, not very many, and there's no real quality necessarily attached to them. But the moment I give people a number, it drives them. So now, if I'm a manager, I start driving this thing. I just say to my staff, what are 5 things we're going to do today to ensure we're going to achieve or surpass our average basket goal? 5. And I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna get like 5 different ideas from like 5 different people. If I've got 3 people, I'm still gonna get 5. Maybe it's just 3, maybe it's 10, right? But start driving with your people this accountability to provide content. You will be surprised the content that they're able to come up with. Get serious about your metrics. You need a plan. Don't just track it. You need a plan, right? If you got a traffic counter, you're tracking conversion rate, average sale, items per sale, feature items. What's your plan? Like if you don't have a plan to drive items for sale and you're just tracking it and talking about it, I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's going to go up. But what's your plan? Sit down, take 10 minutes, take 50 minutes. Maybe your entire team or just the management team and go, okay, what's our plan? What are we going to do to drive this number? What are some of I call them merchant driven ideas, the things that we're going to do with bundling and pricing and merchandising in the store? What are the sales behaviors that we're going to need to coach and develop to be able to drive items for sale? Like have a plan put into place, right? And then start to execute that. If you get serious about it, instead of just, it's a number the machine kicks out, and apparently it's important, but it doesn't seem to move, that's not going to work for you. You need a plan. And the good news is we're early enough in the season now. Pick one metric, make it your hero metric, and chase that down in your store. Don't tolerate poor performance. It's easier to deal with it now than it is on December 15, folks. Um, if you've got a dog performer on your schedule, like you've got about 7 days to turn them around. That's probably not going to happen. You are way further ahead. You know this, to run the store down that one poor performer than running with a full schedule of people, but with a poor performer on it, because morale's going down, the customer experience is terrible, your stress level's off the charts, right? It's unfair to all the other staff, and it's really unfair to your customers, and it's really unfair to you that you're trying to deal with a poor performer at this time of year. It's not acceptable to have anybody in your schedule like that, right? So now's the time that you've got to deal with it. Easier for me to talk about than for you to do it, but maybe their hours are just squeezing down. Who knows? Maybe you can turn this person around in a short period of time. You just might be able to. Um, Always frustrates me. We go into holiday and people tend to do less coaching, not more coaching. And I think, shouldn't it go the other way around? Like there's more importance to the days, the weeks, and the months that we're about to go into than in February. We typically have more staff around at this time of year. We should be providing more coaching, not less coaching. We got to get out of our office and spend more one-on-one time, small group time, big group time with our staff, right? You know that the only way you're going to hit your sales numbers this holiday is if you get discretionary effort from your staff, if they're engaged, if they're motivated, if they're knowledgeable, if they're driven, if they're held accountable, right? That's our job as managers, is to be able to get out there and drive it, right? Think about what happens in the sports world, right? It's the best athletes in the world get coaching all the time. And now when the playoffs come around, it gets that much more intense because the stakes are that much higher. Same thing applies to you. Get out of your office, get out on the floor, coach your staff before the store opens, as it's opening, while it's running, at the end of the day, however it works for you in your cadence, layer it in. You'll be surprised how much that'll help. Seasonals. I love seasonals. They smile so well. They have no bad habits, but they don't know anything most of the time. Um, Train them, right? Just give them a crash course. Put them on a buddy system. Do small group orientation programs. Have frequently asked question sheets that they can refer to. When this happens, who do you call? When this happens, what do you do? Where do you find this? Like, what are the most 20, 30 most common things that a seasonal needs to know? You got to give them all the training so that they can be a functional part of your team, and then zone them where they can be of best value to you, or alternatively can't hurt you, right? Like just think about your seasonals and how it is we're going to maximize them. This kind of is a repeat of what it just was nagging at you guys about coaching. You got to stay on the floor, products on the floor, customers are on the floor, staff are on the floor, right? I always say we make money on the floor, we spend it in the back office. Get out on the floor, spend your time out there, send somebody else back there to do that stuff, right? Your skill set that we need is your ability to be a floor general. It's to be the leader. It's to be the coach, right? To be the driver, the motivator, the engager. That's what we need you to do. We do that from the floor. Pay attention to what's going on out there. Contests. For those of you who have worked with me before, you've heard me say this before. If I ran a store, I'd have a contest running every week of the year. Every week of the year, right? There's no doubt in my mind I'd have a contest every week of the year. Simple, easy. Why? Because I know a well-designed contest, even the most simple one, gets people's behaviors aligned with where I want them to go, right? And it makes it more engaging for the staff. They show up on Monday and go, well, I wonder what the contest is going to be this week, right? Or what's the contest going to be today? What's the reward, right? Now, when we get to holiday, same idea, right? Have short contests. Don't do it for the entire holiday season. Everybody's got ADD or asthma. They're not going to pay attention to it, right? Short, short, short little thing. Maybe it's a shift, maybe it's a week, but focus on something that's really simple, that's fun to be able to do with your staff. Make your staff stars, right? 90% of what rolls off your tongue year round, but especially now, towards your staff should be catching them doing things right. They do way more right than they do wrong. Even some of your poorer performers do way more right than they do wrong. If you want your staff to continue to dig a little bit deeper, to work that extra shift, to work extra hard, they need to feel phenomenally recognized and appreciated for all the hard work that they're putting in. 90% of what rolls off your tongue is supportive feedback. 10%, only 10, is corrective, right? That's an important thing to do. So now all of a sudden you're out on the floor, you're coaching them, and the real focus is you're the positive person. You're the enthusiastic person. You're the one that's making people feel better about themselves and thanking them and appreciating them on an ongoing basis. If you do that, they'll pull hard for you. Let's move over to store operations, more tactical type of things. We've talked about sales skills. We've talked about staff management things. So now let's just layer into store operations, some pretty basic things. And by way of note, just so you know, there's a section at the end of this program where the ideas are much more focused on independent retail. So when we get to that section, I will let you know that we're at that section. And if you're a manager for a retail chain, you are going to be free to go at that stage of the game because you can't do anything with changing your refund policy, as an example. So I will let you know when we get to that. Store operations, the cash desk. There's a there's a lot of abandonment of time in stores and intended purchases when customers look at the lineup at the cash desk. No, I'll come back and do this later. They don't come back. They just go to another store that had no lineup over there, right? It's just the nature of it, right? And it's easier said than done, but you got to somehow, some way keep the cash desk being phenomenally efficient, right? Have baggers, have wrappers, get your cashiers selling, right? Somehow, some way that cash desk experience has to be memorable, right? Even if there's nothing you can do about it, you work the lineup with the customers and keep everybody happy and calm and let them know they're appreciated. Maybe sell them something while they're in line, right? As a possibility. Do your maintenance checkups now. Basic stuff. You know this stuff, right? Make sure the stores, if it's not right now, it's not going to be right in the holidays. It's just going to get worse. Or all the lights on at your change rooms, like spotless and clean. Printers, ticket machines, pens, register tapes, bags, right? All that stuff. Do we have it all perfectly now? Right? If we can get it all perfectly now, is the back room spotless now? Is it incredibly organized? Is it all cleaned up? All that stuff happens like now. It's probably should have happened before, but if you're not on it, do those things. No boxes on the floor. Again, easier said than done. We wait a long time for customers to come at this time of year. And it drives me nuts. We finally get them in, and there we are in the store, merchandising the store, receiving stuff, holding stuff, pricing stuff, right? Because we sold stuff down, and now we're doing. I get you're gonna have to do it sometimes, but really, we're gonna do this now when the customers are finally in the store. We can do that stuff before the store opens, and we can do that stuff after the store closes. And again, I'm not the one having to work those hours or schedule those hours, right? But you're infinitely more efficient. You can get a lot more done with no interruptions before the store opens or after it closes than when you're being interrupted all the time, right? Reallocate your hours, right? When that store opens for business, you are ready for business. It is perfect, right? At 9:30 a.m., which we open that door, it's Mecca time, right? It's brilliant at that stage. That's what we have to be able to do. Empty out the back room. I mentioned that earlier. You can't sell it if it's back there, right? That little noise you hear coming from the back room, it's not haunted. It's product that's celebrated an anniversary back there, right? So you go back there, find it, get it out on the floor. For leaders, this should sound familiar to a small group of people that are on this call that have been going through a program with me. Keep everybody focused on their goals. Simplify it, right? What are we trying to do? It's not just that we're busy with tasks. What's the goal? right? Constantly measure and share results, right? Throughout the day, right? Get on your horse, do a midday read, do an hourly read, let everybody know how it's going. Where are we winning? Where are we losing? What do we have to adjust, if anything? Spread out accountability amongst the team. You can't do everything. Who are those bright lights in your store that you can go, look, I'm going to need a little bit of help from you. I'm going to need you to take on, name the task, right? Show them how to do it, make sure they're comfortable with doing it, they have the scope to be able to do it, and spread that accountability out amongst the team. Every day, give your team 2 or 3 tips for success. They only know what they know. But if every day, think about it, we've got about 40 days left. I may be off on my numbers there, but we have about 40 days left of selling. If every day I shared with them 2 different tips, a sales tip, a product tip, right, of the day, a little bit of product knowledge, a little bit of sales tip, every day, I got 40 days. That's 80 new things they're going to learn. That's going to make them more competent, confident, and successful out on the sales floor. Every day, just start layering them in. Easy, doesn't have to be complicated, but do those things. Provide lots and lots and lots and lots of recognition. For those of you who've worked with me before, you recognize that chart that I just put up down on the bottom, the 5 foundations. That's really what I just talked about right in here. Is that's the model that drives phenomenal productivity. If you know it, use it. If you don't know it, you probably want to reach out to me and we can talk about how it is you need to introduce that as part of your daily store operations. Let's talk about marketing. At Graff, we are not a marketing agency. We're not a marketing company. We are terrible marketers ourselves. But I'm fortunate enough that I've got some good friends that are marketers that I lean on and I go, okay, so what would you do if you had to market your store? Now, again, I'm not a marketer. I'm going to run through these things really quickly for you. They won't all apply to all of you, but grab the one idea or the 2 ideas where you go, yeah, we could leverage that in our store. Number one, market to existing customers. They're the people who love you, right? They love you. That's why they're an existing customer. It's a lot easier to keep a customer than to find a new one. Hopefully, you've got great email lists, customer loyalty programs. You've got a CRM of some sort in there. Start to really market out to those individuals. For street front retailers, better signage, right? You know, my office is in a small town. I'm downtown Oakville. I walk the street all the time. The storefronts become like the wallpaper in your house, right? You don't even look at it anymore until somebody puts a great A-frame out front or changes their store window with some digitization or animation in it. Get the word right, right? All of a sudden, it's like, so you got to like stop people, right? Because the same people driving through town or walking on the streets for the most part. What are you going to do it? Because that's why you're there. That's why you pay that rent. The exorbitant rent is because all these people are walking by. Doesn't guarantee they're going to walk in. So what can you do with your storefronts to ensure you get more of these people coming into your store, right? If you're a street front retailer, just consider keep your door open, right? It's been proven just to get more people coming in there. Get it right on Google, right? Make sure your hours are right on Google. And I put this one in here this year. Why? Because I was frustrated. You know, there was a store I drove into Toronto, the Queen West, one day on a Saturday, right? And according to Google, it was open. I got there, it was closed, right? And I'm like, really? You know, I suppose I could have called ahead, but I trusted the Google because it's almost always right. Get onto Google, make sure your listings, your time that you're open are correct. And then focus on just convenience, right? It's a convenience-driven world out there. It's a big reason why e-com exists is purely based on convenience, not just driven on price. It's predominantly driven on convenience. That's Amazon's play out there. So what are the things that you can enhance in your operation, whether it's curbside pickup, BOPIS, whether you're always in stock, it's priced, it's pre-wrapped, right? Make it easy for me, especially a man when I'm shopping. Point to just when I come in as a man, like some of us are great shoppers, not all of us are really patient shoppers, right? Point out, well, these are our best sellers. These are our top 10 items. This is what's been most popular. I think whoever it is you're buying would really like one of these. That's like, okay, that's good. That makes my decision making easier. It's a less likelihood that that's going to be another returned gift again this year, right? If we do those things, it's okay. And then just layer in the drinks, the food, the music, the demos, the flash sales, the decorations. It's holiday, right? I want to come into your store and feel like it's holiday into your store. If I walk in your store and it could be March, it could be December. I don't know. Like really, are we really creating a great experience? Right? Invest in that. We know that when you do that, you get more people in, they'll stay longer in your store. Both of those drive sales in your store. So if that means you have to drop $1,500 on decorations and music and cider and hot chocolate and toys for the kids, or I don't care what it is, do it. It'll pay dividends for you. I know it's hard and it's going to take some time and some of it's messy. Get over it. It's how we're going to be able to drive it. Bundles, right? Bundles drive your average sale, right? They do. Not all of you can apply this idea. I know that, right? But bundles apply them, right? Like if you're running like, cosmetics, right? Type of idea. Oh, sorry. I went by there. Bundle up like a cleanser, a moisturizer, and an exfoliator, right? Put them in a little box, right? They normally sell individually. In the box, it's going to cost you a little bit less to buy all three at once. It drives up my average sale. What are the ways that you can do? Baskets, buckets, baskets, bags, different types of things to be able to bundle your product to be able to get that average sale up a little bit higher. Your VIP customers, your best customers in most of your businesses drive as much as 80% of your sales. Look after them. They've looked after you. Look after them. Offer them early access to your sales and promos. Have a special shopping evening for them, right? It goes back to what we talked about, marketing to your existing customers. These are your VIPs. Like treat them like they're a VIP. Invite them for a champagne and strawberry evening of shopping in your store, right? Market it out to them just for our VIP customers. They're going to show up, right? Why? They're champagne, they're strawberries in your store, and a special promotion that's not available to anybody else. Are you kidding me? I now feel like I just got a personalized promotion. It's an easy way to be able to drive business. Experiment with using your social media if you have a strong enough social media following, with a flash sale, right? A flash sale is just like a 2-hour sale, only promoted on social media. Just see what happens. Just put it out there for the next 2 hours. Here's a really hot item. It's 25% off. See if it can't drive some traffic. And when they come in to buy that item at 25% off, sell them 2 or 3 other items that aren't on sale, right? But it hopefully will drive traffic for you. Drive your January sales with gift cards along the way, right? You've all seen these promotions where come in, spend this much, and you'll get a gift card for $10 or $25, but that gift card is only good starting January 1. Right? So now all of a sudden, I'm trying to drive traffic for Q1 next year based on the traffic that's in my store this holiday season. It's a really creative way of being able to advance that traffic and guarantee sales in January and February, which tend to be tougher months to be able to do it. And don't forget your charitable donations. You can no longer be in business just to make money. Right? Society doesn't accept it. Your employees don't accept it. What's your charitable give back out there? And it doesn't have to be complicated. Maybe you're going to run a promo where it's going to be just on a Saturday. And for every sale over $20, $50, $100, pick your store. It doesn't really matter. We're going to donate $5 to pick your favorite charity that resonates with your customers and your staff, and you're off to the races. Right? Do it every Saturday, do it during the holiday season, do it on one day, tie it to whatever it is, step up, help your community. It's good for your community and it will help your staff retention at the same time. That's a boatload of ideas to be able to cram through in about 40, 45 minutes. I'm going to get into this tips for independence. I think there's actually more than 10. I think I have to edit that slide. For those of you who work for a retail chain, you are free to go. Recognize that there's way more potential in our stores than what we see out there right now. Like there's way more potential out there. We just have to get after these things. Hopefully you found those ideas. But now for the independents that are hanging around, let me run you through these additional ideas to be able to help you. Number one, I always hate putting this one on there. Extend your hours, right? Most of the time we're open is when our customers are at work. Really? It's holiday. Open on Monday if you're closed on Monday. Open on Tuesday if you're closed Tuesdays. Open on Sunday if you're closed Sundays, right? If you close at 6 o'clock, close at 8 o'clock, right? If you open at 10, open at 9:30, right? There's people out there, right? There's lots of what we say ducks flying, right? Just if you're open, you give them a fighting chance to actually want to come into your store, right? It's been long known that, like, for those of you who operate in malls, I love the stores. Mall's going to open at 10. There are stores that open at 9:30 and they open their doors, right? And they're writing business between 9:30 and 10. Not huge amounts, but the staff are there anyway doing their openings. May as well get a few customers in. Next thing you know, they got a couple $100 in sales before 10 o'clock, right? Same type of idea, right? When it looks at your store, extend your hours. I know it's a painful one to give you. It's like this one's painful to give you. It's why I talk about these ideas, just the independence, your return policy, your refund policy. If you don't have an incredibly liberal, open-ended refund policy, you're behind the game. Keep in mind, we don't put refund policies into place because we want to give customers their money back. That's not why we do it. We put refund policies, liberal, open-ended refund policies in place to make it easier to sell to customers so that during the holiday period, I can say to them, listen, buy it. I'm positive they're going to like it. Don't worry about it. If it doesn't work out, they can bring it back and get a full refund, right? Like, you spend way more money on exchange and discount fees to Visa, MasterCard, and Amex. You give away tens of thousands of dollars a year to them for the privilege of using their cards in your store. This will cost you way less than what you pay out to the credit card companies to be able to do this thing. Take a look at your policy and just be brave with it. Sell and work with other retailers, depending on the marketplace that you're in. Network, cross promote. They've got customers in their store that aren't coming into your store and vice versa. How can we do a cross promotion, right? That can help each other, right? Get your ego out of the way and start working with all these different people. It's an amazing opportunity for you. Make it easy to shop in your store, right? Clear signage, no obstructions in the aisles, lineups moving, give them like basic little ideas. Make it easy to buy. Nothing better than a pre-wrapped gift. I see it more and more in stores. I go in and there's the item and I go, that's really good. And is this item all wrapped up, ready to go? I don't have to wrap it? Sold. Easy for the kids to buy, teenagers to buy, 20 somethings and old guys to buy, right? Why? Because they don't have to wrap it, right? It's an easy sale because you took the time to do all the pre-wrapping on it. Feed your customers, by the way, right? It slows them down. I miss my favorite menswear store used to be in downtown Oakville, and he closed. I used to love going in there. Why? Because he was great. The clothes were great. It was an experience. I'd get an espresso. I'd get a little biscotti when I went in there. In holiday season, I have a little glass of wine. Like, it was great, right? I'd stay so much longer in the store, and the longer I'm in the store, the more I'm going to spend, right? It's easy to be able to do. Great windows. We talked about it, right? There's not a lot of great windows in independent retailer. I hate to tell you that. There are some that are brilliant and awesome. They really are. I'm amazed at some of the creativity, the resources they're put in. But most are like, they're okay. They're okay. But in today's world of hyper competitiveness, your windows have to be great. Go and hire somebody if you don't have the talent to do it. I know I don't. Go hire somebody to come in and do your windows and make them magical. It drives traffic into your store. Get involved with the community. It's like the charity thing, right? But to just figure out what's your outreach to the community that's going to cement you as a good business, as a good neighbor to be able to do business with. And I think this is my last point. Don't panic with markdowns, by the way. Be strategic about it. We know, you know this better than I do. Those last minute customers that are coming into your store, they want selection more than they want price. Like on the 23rd, the 24th, they're looking for selection, right? Price, they're last minute hunters at this stage of the game. So I know the big guys will drop their prices early this year. They always do. That's nothing new, but they're going to like drop it a little bit earlier, especially now if you're in the United States. There's fewer selling periods between Black Friday and Christmas this year than ever before because of when Black Friday falls. It's like a real, or Thanksgiving falls in the US. So also we've got this compressed period of time. People will be panic to be able to accelerate sales in there. I'm not saying that you're going to have to match that sort of velocity, but what I am saying is be careful that you don't give away the farm. Whew, that's a lot of ideas in about 50 minutes. We've recorded this. If you attended this thing, we're going to send the recording out to you so that you can go through it. If I was going too fast, which I normally do, you can have the recording. You can go through this thing. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, I'm incredibly proud of retail of all different shapes and sizes, but I'm also the person that is frustrated and hopeful for it because I see the opportunity at store level to be able to drive an extra 5, 10, 15, 20% in sales just by doing more things efficiently and correctly and consistently in the stores. And that's really what your magic is as a manager, as a leader of your organization, is your ability to actually execute the store at the highest level during the holiday season. So with that, I want to thank you guys for investing the time to attend the Retailer's Guide to a Successful Christmas. It's one of my favorite things to be able to present because I think it provides phenomenal value to each of you. So with that, I thank you for your time, and let me be the first to wish you a very Merry Christmas. Thanks, everybody.